Joe Marshall is a cybersecurity researcher at Cisco Talos. And if you read his bio, you'll see this thing you don't often see in cybersecurity bios. He plays the banjo.
I picked this up during COVID because I was going to go crazy if I didn't.
And we kind of pressed him into playing for us.
So this is a Deering blackgrass banjo. They don't make these anymore. I had to find this.
For music lovers out there, all you need to know is that a Deering blackgrass is kind of the ultimate banjo.
Cripple Creek is like the timeless classic. It is the wonder wall of rock songs. Every banjoist worth his salt is going to know Cripple Creek. Kind of goes like that. I'm very nervous right now.
That was pretty awesome. No, that was totally awesome.
From Recorded Future News, I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop, an extended cut of an interview we think you might want to hear more of. And this week, we're talking to Joe Marshall, not just our favorite banjo player, but the guy at the center of our episode on Tuesday about GPS satellite clocks and blackouts in Ukraine. Joe also told us about this other satellite issue looming on the horizon, spoofing.
So spoofing is a much more difficult problem to solve.
Stay with us. I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop. When we talked to Joe Marshall on Tuesday, it was about his work with the Ukrainians on something called Project Power Up. Russian and Ukrainian militaries jammed GPS satellite signals to try to throw guided missiles off course. But when they do that, they also jam the GPS's clock, which has the unintended consequence of knocking huge parts of the power grid offline.
It kind of goes into a panic.
And the lights go out. But there's this other thing that we talked about that is also becoming a problem in Ukraine, the spoofing of GPS satellites. How is the problem with the GPS clock different from, say, spoofing?
Spoofing. So, spoofing is the deliberate misrepresentation through a false signal to a victim to make them think they are somewhere else.
So if you had a commercial ship in the Black Sea, a GPS signal would place it. Transponders are supposed to be beaming out locational signals, so planes or ships can be plotted on a map or even seen on a radar. But if you spoof that signal and it shows that same ship or plane isn't in the sea but is sitting in Moscow, well, you've got a problem. And in a war, Joe says,
spoofing and jamming are table stakes. It is the bare minimum of what you do to fight over the electromagnetic airwaves. Keep in mind, electronic warfare is the protection of your assets and the denial of those assets to your enemy. So I want to be able to coordinate my troop movements. I want to be able to protect my assets, and I want to make sure that my enemy can't do it back to me.
Satellite signals have always been susceptible to jamming and spoofing. They transmit from orbit, more than 12,000 miles above the Earth. And they're so weak that their power compares to that of a light bulb. What has changed in the last couple of years is that just about anyone with a few $100s and an internet connection can spoof a satellite signal. All you have to do is essentially transmit a radio signal to a receiver, and it overrides the weaker satellite signal. Think of it as an atmospheric cyber attack. Russia, for its part, has been doing spoofing for years. It sent out spoofing signals from air bases in Syria, and Russian President Vladimir Putin is thought to travel with GPS spoofing technology anytime he leaves Moscow, so no one can be too sure where he is. The problem is that spoofing
creates a lot of danger for economic enterprise and commercial enterprises because you don't want two ships hitting each other or a ship running aground or planes being confused about where they are in the sky.
Up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
Oh, that can be pretty dangerous.
But Joe's interest in spoofing gets back to his first love, power grids. The new switch Cisco Talos made to help Ukraine with its satellite jamming problem is susceptible to spoofing too.
Unfortunately, everything is vulnerable to it. Everything. A lot of this has to do with the way that GPS technology is based.
Part of the problem is that with GPS technology, everything is in motion.
The Earth is rotating and we're rotating around the sun, and these GPS satellites are rotating around us.
And then planes and ships and other things that are using GPS are also moving. So when the satellite moves towards something, like a plane, the signal experiences an apparent increase in frequency. It's louder. And when it moves away, there is an apparent decrease in frequency. It's kind of softer.
A GPS spoofing attack would be just a louder GPS signal than this very weak satellite signal.
And that means overriding the signal, at times, can be downright easy. Joe says that GPS's days may be numbered.
The standard is just old and ancient and cheap and easy to use, which is why we all use it. And, I hate to say it, but its heyday is over and should be over.
The U.S. military, for its part, routinely trains for operations in which GPS disappears.
I think we definitely have some really great ideas for combating spoofing in substations.
One solution researchers are looking into may be adapting quantum technology, building little sensors that collect data at the atomic level. And scientists are trying to turn that into more secure communications and navigation systems. Joe couldn't get into the details of what Cisco's solution might look like, but he did say they're working on it.
My team's involvement with Ukraine will continue and is continuing, and we got their backs. Spoofing, jamming, cyber attacks, whatever it is, we'll be there for them.
From Recorded Future News, this has been Mic Drop. It was written and produced by Lucas Riley, Kat Schucknecht, Sean Powers, and me, Dina Temple-Raston. We'll be back on Tuesday with an all-new episode of Click Here, and have a great weekend. We'll let Joe play us out.